The quiet wait. "Thanks for fixing my car," my wife said, her voice light and almost casual, like she was commenting on the weather as she started the engine. I nodded, trying to hold my expression steady as she looked at me, giving a small smile. The sun was beginning to dip behind the trees, casting a warm, amber glow over the driveway. But I wasn't looking at her face. No, my gaze was locked on the car, on the small device tucked away beneath the hood. The ticking of the engine turning over was louder than usual, as though it too were aware of the ticking clock, the inevitability of what would come next. She shifted the car into gear, giving me a final wave through the open driver's side window, before pressing the gas and speeding away. I stood there motionless, watching her tail lights disappear down the road, the sound of the engine fading with every second, the silence of the evening settling in around me, thick and heavy. I knew what was coming. The plan was simple, deceptively so. I had spent the last few weeks preparing, ensuring that everything was perfect. The timing, the mechanics of the device, the placement, everything had to be exact, flawless. And now, the waiting. My heart beat steady in my chest, but in my mind, the seconds seemed to stretch on forever, like the world had slowed down, giving me all the time I needed to reflect. How long would it take? I glanced at the sky, watching the clouds drift lazily across the fading light. I had given her exactly what she wanted. I had fixed the car, made sure everything looked just right. I had smiled at her, told her it was no trouble at all, and she had been so grateful. She didn't suspect a thing. I didn't love her anymore. Not in the way I once did. But I didn't hate her either. This wasn't about hate. It was something far colder, something more calculated. It was about control, about reclaiming what was mine, about making sure that I didn't go unnoticed anymore. The life she had stolen from me, the years, the quiet betrayals, the way she had wrapped me in a web of comfort and lies. I had never wanted her to leave me, but I had never wanted her to control me either. And now the control was mine. I checked my watch, barely noticing the movement of my wrist as I did. Just a few minutes had passed, but in those minutes I could already feel the weight of the decision press on me, the choices I had made leading to this moment. I walked back into the house slowly, letting the door click shut behind me. The familiar, mundane sounds of my home, the creak of the floorboards, the distant hum of the refrigerator, sounded so out of place in the stillness of what I had just done. The sound of a car engine, of her car, still echoed in my mind, and I felt my stomach tighten. It wasn't long now. It wasn't long before the world would change, before everything would shift into a new, irrevocable state. I leaned against the kitchen counter, eyes darting between the clock and the window, watching the darkness grow thicker outside. I thought about the explosion, the way it would unfold, the shock, the panic. It wouldn't just be the car that was destroyed. It would be everything she had built in her life, everything that had been hers, everything she thought was safe. I wasn't just erasing her. I was erasing everything she had ever known. The thought didn't scare me. It didn't excite me either. It simply felt like the only option, a necessary thing, something that had to happen, something that couldn't be undone. The seconds dragged on as I continued to wait, staring at the silent house, the empty driveway. My mind wandered, but always came back to the same thought. How long would it take?